Hey everybody, this week's class was the bones, how to play the bones. So you take up your bones like this. Here's a little demonstration. You take them like this, hold them here. So what you do, first you're going to take, when you're putting them in your hand, they go back to back, I call it back to back, curve to curve like this. So take the first one, you're going to take your hand, slip it in here like this, curl your pointing finger up on top, squish it with your thumb, and then run your middle finger down the bone like this. Oops, not very good lighting. Anyways, this bone stays rigidly pressed against the palm of your hand. So what I'd like you to do is you roll up your finger like this. So it's on top of the bone. The bone squishes into the meat of your hand, sort of on the ball of your thumb. Then your middle finger is going to squish and run down the spine and press into your hand, and that stays firmly there. These fingers kind of curl up on each other like that. So now take that, and what you're going to do is do sort of like you're fly fishing or doffing your cap. So what you do is hold it firmly, move it all around, all over the place. The motion you're going to be using to play the bones is this motion. So imagine, I'll do it again, you just take a small piece of paper, you don't have to do this, but imagine that you're doing, this is the idea. You then take and put your pea for the pea shooter on here, and you're going to catapult it away like that. So the motion is from here like that. So do that a few times. You can imagine that you're doffing your cap. How do you do? Yes, and how do you do? So this is the motion. Like that. If you were to pull on that bone, you couldn't get it out, or it would take some doing. So it's curled up, held with this finger, held between the two fingers here like this. There's a little nub sticking out the top. Now, you take the second bone, you put it between your ring and your middle finger, and you curl these around this way, like so. Now this one swings freely, not entirely freely, but within that little cage it swings. And the idea is that the motion is like this, and when you stop, because this one's rigid and this one is looser, when you stop, this stops, but this keeps going, and it bounces into it like that, and then bounces off. So you have this motion. So if you either do it here or here, like that. So you project it away from you. Okay? And the main thing with playing the bones is this is all you need to do to make good music. So somebody's playing a fiddle tune. You see, so that's really important. If you can manage to do that, when you can manage to do that, that's really all you need to do. But if you want to get fancier, pull it back upside down. So what happens? The funny thing with the bones is they rely so much on gravity and the bouncing motion that they have. You end up with this. It's hard to teach them slowly because when you go out, they click together. When you come back, this one falls on top of the rigid bone like this. So if you just come from here, so I'm pointing, you point away from yourself and then pull it back. They should kind of have a little bounce, maybe like that. Ta-ta-da. And what will happen, the inherent rhythm in the bones is the jig, and a jig goes like this. That sounds like this. So what we're working towards is having this controlled bounce. And when we stop, see how they go tit-ta-ta-ta, tit-ta-ta-ta. That's okay. The main thing this week is to just work on this individual strike. Now it's this motion. So take your time, look at your hand, make sure it's all nice and tightly gripping the bone, the first one, and this one is the main objective this week is to get one tick and then another one, and to not have them go flying across the room, because if they go flying across the room, you know, somebody could get hurt, or as saying to Molly, the dog could grab them and take off with your bones. So you just casually like that again. Then check, look at your hand, say, okay, everything's in line, everything's here, here. Yes, they're remaining that way. Come back, do it again. And then gradually get smaller and smaller. You see, I'm hardly moving my arm. But eventually the idea is that you want it to, the bones will just be an extension of your arm. So it's control, you're just really controlling gravity and keeping them from flying across the room. That's all you do. And they play themselves, you just have to gain control of that. So this week we're working on just having an individual tap like that. Imagine doffing your cap. How do you do? Yes, how do you do? Nice to meet you. Good to see you. Like that. And when you pull it back, they bounce. Da-da-da. And that turns into check your hand, pull it back, check your hand. Yep, everything looks good. And then if, you know, once in a while, take that out and just do it with one. And that's the motion. It's also, people say it's like turning the ignition on in your car, but none of you, I mean, apart from Seth, really ever do that. So you could imagine you're turning the doorknob. You're trying to get into the house. You turn the doorknob, and it's that motion. But the best way to keep the motion going in the right direction is by imagining that pea shooter, just like that. Okay, the bones. Have a good week. If you have any questions, just send me an email or a message on the classroom messagey thing. Okay. Hope you had a nice saunter in the mountains. Those who weren't here this week, have a good week.